This is Coach Jason Ballard, and I'm a business wingman. Over the years, I've learned a lot from working in our family construction business, serving as a senior officer in the United States Air Force, and running 12 different organizations around the world. Many people helped me get to where I am today, and it's my mission in life to serve as a personal wingman to others. That's what this podcast is all about, providing knowledge, tools, resources, and mentorship to help people soar to their highest altitude. Welcome back to the Soar Higher podcast. This is your host, Coach Jason Ballard, and it's great to be with you today. Today, we've got a really exciting show for you. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the most important things you need to know to be a successful leader. One of the most important things that really helps you stand out, helps you be a leader of leaders. So, what are we talking about today? We're talking about how to think bigger. The greater the thinking, the greater your success, the greater, more diverse thinking, broader strategic thinking, the more of an impactful leader you're going to be. And today, we're going to be talking about how to think bigger, how to get out of comfort zones, how to expand your horizons, expand your vision, and think bigger. Not only just to think bigger, but how to take those thoughts and actually apply them, actually get them down on paper and create a strategic plan with your organization and share that with others. Because if you don't share that with others, if it's not written down, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count. It doesn't exist. So you got to be able to take all these big thoughts, big ideas, aspirations of a better future, a better way of doing things from year to year in your business, and get those down so everybody can come together. You know, if you're a leader and you are running strong, thinking big, and you turn around and nobody's behind you, are you really truly a leader? If you have no followers, are you a leader? The answer to the question is no. You have to have followers. How do you have followers in an organization? You've got to be on the same page. We got to be rowing the boat in the same direction at the same time. How do you do that? By creating a plan that everybody is familiar with. But ironically, a lot of people in business are scared of strategic planning. It's like a big word that only corporations and bigger companies really do. The small to mid-sized companies, I find all the time, you know, in my coaching practice when I'm working with these leaders, that they really don't have a good plan. I talked to a guy just the other day, actually just signed him as a client this week, and he's in the logistics industry. And we were talking about a lot of things that were going on in his company and his stresses and frustrations, and, you know, what types of things he wanted to prioritize and have me help him do. And it really boiled down to one simple thing: clarity, being clear about what's going on and where you're going and how you're going to get there. The first thing with this gentleman is he didn't know his numbers. He was struggling financially. Not that he wasn't making money, but he wasn't organized. He didn't know his financials. And that was one of the first things we needed to take a look at and help him understand that and get in a better rhythm of understanding those numbers so he can grow. That was the whole point of us even talking in the first place, is he wants to grow and expand, and he knows there's opportunities out there, but he can't move forward. He's stuck. Why? Because he's not clear on where he is and where he's going. And so, one of the first things that we talked about that we're going to do is create a plan. Because I asked him, so where are you in your plan this year? Or have you achieved all your goals? Are you doing all the things you set out to do? And then it got real quiet. He didn't have a plan. He didn't have goals written down. He was just kind of living in the business day to day and getting up and going doing it again the next day. And I find this over and over and over again out there in business. So today I want to take kind of the paradigms and the stereotypes around strategic planning. It's got to be complicated, and it's this it takes a long time to figure it out, and all the excuses of why we don't plan. I want to break that down into a formula. Today I want to give you a very simple formula to help you think bigger and plan better, communicate better, and actually be more successful. Actually take the plan and run with it. Because what time of year is it? Right now, we're in the fourth quarter of 2023. This is the time of year when we're reflecting back on what's going well, what's not going so well, what needs to happen to end this year the way we want to end it. This is also the time of year where we need to start thinking about our plan for 2024. What does success look like at the end of 2024? What needs to happen to make that happen? And so it's all about thinking differently. It's about thinking bigger. It's about getting out of our comfort zones. And so today we're going to break this down and give you a winning formula, a simple planning tool that you can implement today easily right now. Sound good? I knew you'd like that. So today we're going to break this down is kind of like a recipe when you're cooking your favorite meal. There's ingredients, there's, all kinds of things that go into a fully prepared meal, and it's centered around a recipe. How do you cook X, Y, and Z? Well, there's a recipe for that. And you put the ingredients and the herbs and the spices and all the things in there, the meat, the potatoes, the vegetables, whatever that may be, and you cook it along in conjunction with the recipe. We're all going to be familiar with that here in a few weeks when we start planning and preparing our Thanksgiving meal. So I want to break that down on a simple level. And so just to get us kind of started, I wanted to start off with a quote from the great Jack Welch, former great leader, longtime leader of General Electric. And he says, if the amount of change outside of the organization is greater than the level of change inside of the organization, you are on the off ramp to going out of business. Again, more change is happening outside than inside. You got some issues. And so this formula is going to help you create a change roadmap that is sustainable, doable, realistic, that will help you win and keep up with the things going on the outside. Hopefully, get you out in front of the things that are going on the outside and help your business succeed and grow. So what are we talking about today? What is this secret formula that I want to talk about with you and share with you on this podcast? It's called the GOSPA recipe, the GOSPA method. GOSPA is an acronym spelled out as GOSPA. The G stands for goals, the O stands for objectives, the S stands for strategies, the P stands for plans, and the A stands for activities. I'm going to break those down for you, bring these together, break them down, and then bring them all together at the end so you can take this and implement this over the next few weeks, over the next couple of months, and build you a really good synergetic plan for success. We started off talking about thinking. Planning involves a lot of thinking, different kinds of thinking. And Fortune magazine has monitored some trends of leaders and some of their most common mistakes with thinking. Here's what they found. Here's the two most common mistakes. One is people think this: if I want to do something, I can do it. Well, here's the problem with that. Just because you want to do something doesn't mean you should, doesn't mean it's in your best interest, and it certainly doesn't mean you can. If I want to drive a NASCAR 200 miles an hour around the Talladega track, that's something I want to do, but it doesn't mean I can. Am I trained to do that? Do I have I ever driven that kind of car before at that kind of performance level before? What are the chances if I just jump in the car and go 200 miles an hour that I may crash into the wall? Probably pretty high. I'm not ready for that. I don't understand the expectations around that as somebody that's never driven a NASCAR or driven 200 miles per hour. Just because I want to doesn't mean I can. The second most common mistake that Fortune has identified is the thought of I have to, therefore I can. I have to. I have to get more customers in the door. I have to take more inventory on to supply the need. I have to cut costs cut costs to keep the business afloat. I have to do something. Therefore, I can do something. Well, just because you have to do something or you feel you have to do something doesn't mean you have to do things that aren't right for you. So I'll give you an example of that, right? There's a great business person named Rupert Murdoch. He's in many ways at certain times throughout his career was kind of branded one of the brightest business minds of our generation until he started making some mistakes. But at the time, back when the internet was just coming around and social media was just coming out, there was this platform called MySpace. It was kind of one of the first social media types of platforms out there prior to Twitter, prior to TikTok, prior to Facebook as we know them today. And he felt he had to get in the internet business. Never been in it before, but he felt he had to do it. He wanted to do it. It was kind of this little pet thing he wanted to do. There was a lot of buzz around it. There was a lot of, conversations around what all these platforms can do. And he wanted to be one of the first ones in. And he goes out to buy MySpace for over $500 million. Well, most of us have heard of MySpace. Is MySpace around today? No, it is not. It got gobbled up in all of the social media platform transformations over the years, and MySpace no longer exists. In fact, he ended up selling MySpace for 35 million. Bought it for over 500, sold it for 35. It was a major disaster. Why? Same mistakes that Fortune magazine had highlighted. Oh, I want to do it. I have to do it. I need to do it. But yet it was absolutely a horrible decision because he wasn't doing it for the right reasons. Nor did he have the expertise, nor did he plan through that, nor did he have the things set up in place to deal with that and to move that and to be a pioneer in that space and take it to the extent of Facebook and Meta and some of these other platforms and where they are today. So I want you to think about that as you think about your thinking and your planning. Do not make these mistakes. Couple of important questions before we start breaking down GOSPA. When you're thinking about different types of thinking, when you're thinking about your strategic planning efforts and everything, three important questions you need to ask right at the point where you are starting this process. One, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do in your company? What is the next version of your company? What is the bigger and better? What is your company trying to aspire to? At the end of the day, a year from now in 2024, what needs to be accomplished for you to feel you have moved the needle? What are you trying to do? Number two, why do you want to do that? Whatever that is, why are you wanting to do that? Why is that important? What difference is that going to make? What kind of impact is that going to have? Is this just about money and profits and revenue and market share? Or is this about doing more good in the community? Is it about expanding your products and services? Is it about developing new products and services to fill a need? Like, really, truly, why is this important? Why do you want to do the things you want to do in the company? And number three, where are your assumptions? What are your assumptions going into this? Okay. Are your assumptions correct? So, why don't you identify those assumptions about what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do that? And are those assumptions correct? Are they current? Are they relevant? Are you basing decisions and assumptions based off of old data, stuff from 10 years ago, stuff from 5 minutes ago? Is the information you are basing these things off current and relevant? How do you know that? What are your sources? How good are those sources? Because things change all the time. You want to make sure your assumptions about the market need. A lot of people I talk to in my coaching practice when I'm working with them on planning and strategy and execution of bigger, better things, they have assumptions that are not correct. One of them is the market demand for their products and services, and they've got a great idea and they see a need out there, and they're going to go off and build something to fill the need and make tons of money off of it, and it's a win-win for everybody. But yet they don't do enough market research on the demand, and so they spend all this time and research and development, and they build the product, they put it out there, and people aren't clinging to it like they assume they would. So it's really important to arm yourself in the beginning part of this process around what you're trying to do, why you're trying to do it, and all of your assumptions and thoughts and data surrounding this accurate. What do you need to, how do you need to get to good data around that so you're making a really good informed decision and not just going off emotion or feeling or what you think or hear in the news or the media, right? This is really important. A lot of people jump the gun. You know they do fire, ready, aim versus ready, aim, fire, kill shot. Okay, so when you're thinking through this process, couple things that I'll give you specifically to help you start this process. Look at your current company today. For the past 8, 9 months, how's your company doing? Are you making as much money as you need to make, want to make? Are you as profitable as you need and want to be? Are you having good times or bad times with your people, attracting those people, retaining those people? What's the morale like in your organization? Good, bad, somewhere in the middle? What's your ability to close deals? What's your conversion rates? What's working well in your company? Next, what's not working so well? What do you need to stop doing as you go into the new year? What are those lessons learned? Have you been keeping track of those lessons? If not, I highly suggest you get with your leadership and your management team and spend some time thinking through mistakes, errors, lessons learned, and documenting those things. Be getting really, really clear on what those things are because those things you do not want to repeat going forward. Again, that all primes your mind for some bigger thinking, different thinking, getting out of your day to day in the business activities and starting to think differently. Okay. As you think about your strategic planning, here's kind of an expert tip. Only go about 24 to 36 months out in your planning efforts. That's the max. That's the max you should go. If you're a smaller to medium sized company, I'd say go about 12 to 15 months out in your planning efforts. Bigger companies and corporations, you can go 3 to potentially 5 years out. Why? Because things change too fast. This is a fast moving world. Things change all the time. They change fast. Things that you can control, things you can't control. And you can spend a ton of time planning around things that may um, be overcome by events before you actually get to it. So I would say keep your planning in shorter intervals, and I think you'll do better. Okay. Now we're starting to structure your plan. One of the first things you need to do is have a starting point. After you've done the things that we've talked about thus far, the very first place is the G in GOSPA, GOSPA. The G stands for goals. Okay. It's important to start with that because everything centers around that. So, what you want to do is take your goals and break those down as simply as possible. What are the goals? Okay. What are goals under the GOSPA formula? Well, goals are really what you're trying to accomplish. X amount of revenue this year, X amount of profitability this year, X amount of market share in a particular market, X amount of locations we've got opened, X amount of quality of service, X number of 5-star reviews. What are the most important things you need to accomplish in the company holistically to move the entire company, not just one area of the company, not one department, one functional area, the entire company forward? What are you defining as success? What are you trying to accomplish? And what are those goals? Those goals need to be strategic. Do you need a million goals? Again, these are strategic company goals. Yes, departments will have their own set of sub goals, and the frontline employee level may have a subset of some goals in addition to, but these are company wide goals that everybody, every employee, every leader, every manager, everybody is centered around these strategic goals, identifying those goals that are most important for you to move your business forward. Okay. Number two is the O. That's objectives. What in the world are objectives? Objectives are the focus areas you need to focus on to achieve the goals we just defined in the goal setting stage. Okay. The objectives for you to be increase your number of sales. So you want to increase the number of sales as your strategic goal. So what are the objectives? Increasing the number of sales. Well, one objective could be your marketing. We want to go target different people in different ways. We want to change our marketing strategy to attract bigger clients, better clients, recurring clients, whatever that may be. So the objectives are the focus areas. What needs to happen to achieve the goal of X number of sales, X number of revenue for the company holistically? So that could be marketing, that could be producing some more products and services of value. That could be customer satisfaction because if you deliver good service and people are extremely satisfied, give you five-star reviews, then they give you more business. You get more repeat work, you get more referrals, you get all kinds of things out of that, right? If you're doing it right. And so customer satisfaction could be an objective component out of that. Your ability to deliver on time, on schedule, on budget, that could be an objective contributing to the sales. Okay. Your pricing could be a factor of you selling your stuff. You may need to offer some promotions and some package deals, make it more lucrative for people to buy your stuff. Could be that your stuff is leading edge and is separate from your competitors enough to where you can charge more money. Maybe you need to increase your pricing of your products and services to be a differentiator and to help you achieve those broader sales revenue goals. All right. So the objectives are all of the things you need to do and areas of focus across the company collectively that are going to contribute to your goal of X number of sales, X amount of dollars in revenue. All right. So that's the G. That's the O, goals and objectives. The next letter in the gospel model is strategies. Okay. What are strategies? Okay. These are your options of how to best achieve those goals and objectives. Okay. These are kind of breaking things down underneath your objectives. So the goal is to sell X number of things this year, X number of revenue. Your objectives are the different focus areas that you need that contribute to that. And the strategies are the specific things you're going to do that. So that could be advertising, promotions, packaging of your products differently, your pricing. Think about your competition. Think about your competition and how they're doing things. What strategies are they using? You know, it's interesting when in the earlier days of Microsoft had a lot of competitors, a lot of folks out there trying to compete with them, and they came up with similar types of software platforms and things. And so their customers will come to them and say, "Hey, we're thinking about changing to this other vendor. They're offering these different tools, these different resources." And Microsoft would say, "Hey, hold on. We are coming out with those things too. If you just give us a little bit of time, we're going to be packaging those things together and delivering those to you." Now, sometimes Microsoft would do those things, and sometimes Microsoft would not do those things as it stands. All right. So you got to think about your competition and how they're doing things, the strategies they're using, what's working, because sometimes your competitors and other vendors may be doing things that are really best practice that you need to be paying attention to. Not that you need to copy them specifically, but there's some things that they're doing that's really top notch in their strategies and methods of doing the things necessary in their advertising, in their promotions, in the various activities they're doing to do that well, deliver that well. All right. And so you study that, you study your own, what's working, what's not, and figure out how to best deliver and achieve those objectives moving towards those goals. One of the things you need to be thinking about under the strategies area is your plan of action of how you're going to actually launch those new things you're doing. You want to launch strong. You want to be confident. You want to get the word out. You want to promote it. You want to talk it up. You want to differentiate that differently. You want to set yourself apart. You want to get attention and focus on these things so that you can achieve, give your best opportunity to get in front of enough people to actually move those needles. But you also need to be thinking about the plan B. What if you made some of the wrong assumptions? What if plan A doesn't work as you thought it was going to work? What if things happen in the market with competitors or other disruptions that throw you off? Then what do you do? Think about COVID. Nobody was planning and preparing for a pandemic. Wasn't on the mind of any business person anywhere, but it is now. And as that happened, what do you do? How do you respond? How do you engage differently to move your company forward, to take care of your customers the way you need to? And so it's interesting, as a military guy, I studied a lot of military leaders. And one of the guys that I studied was Napoleon. This guy was a pretty fascinating guy to study. He's kind of in the history books noted as one of the top, brilliant minds, military minds, because he was such a good planner, a good strategist. And somebody asked him one time, "Do you believe in luck?" And he's like, "I sure do. I believe that I have bad luck, and I believe that that's going to continue to happen to me for the rest of my life. And so I'm going to do things to plan around the assumption I have that I'm going to have some bad luck from time to time." And he was really, really good at that. He won many, many battles. He only lost a few battles along the way, won hundreds of battles. Why? Because he was a good planner. They had a good plan going in. And when something didn't happen that was supposed to happen in that plan and something threw him off course, he had another plan. They had other ways to respond to that. They weren't trying to figure that out on the fly. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They dropped back, they punted, and they reattacked from a different direction, and they would win the battle ultimately. Okay. So we've talked about GOSPA, GO in the S, goals, objectives, and strategies. The fourth one is called plans. What in the world are plans in this context? Plans are the actual broken down list of things you need to do to execute the strategies you've chosen with the focused objectives you have on a specific goal. Okay, so these are a list of things you need to do. That could be getting supplies. That could be buying equipment. That could be training. That can be budgeting. That could be putting projects together. That could be hiring people, bringing people together from different parts of the company, bringing in experts. It could be anything. It's whatever you need to do in listing those things out in a particular order and prioritizing those things. So you're compartmentalizing these things even farther, right? So think about GOSPA as like a funnel, right? The goals are at the top, and that's kind of the broadest piece of this. And then it funnels down into the objectives, funnels down even farther into strategies, funnels down into the plan. So you're breaking something down from a very strategic company wide level down to the different levels where different people at different levels of the organization can take ownership of this, can do their part with their skills and capabilities that contribute to the overall plan. All right. So the plan stage is the list of all of the things you need to make that happen. The supplies, the resources, the tools, the human capital assets, etc. Prioritizing those things and allocating time and money to them. Think about this as kind of like project planning and how you're getting organized around a project. You need a deadline for these things to happen within. You need a budget to work within. You need tools and resources to do that. And each person on the project, each person on the team has a responsibility. That's where all of those things are assigned. One of the most interesting things about the plan section of GOSPA is there's kind of two different things you need to be thinking about. There's the parallel efforts you need to consider, meaning you can go buy supplies, you can put a plan together, and you can create a schedule in parallel with each other. You can do those things at the same time. In the plan section, there's also, in addition to parallel, there's the sequential side of things where there's a dependency. You have to wait on one thing to get done before you move to the next thing. Getting those things structured in the right order at the right time with the right people and resources around it is crucial. And so that's the most critical part of the plans section of GOSPA. Okay. We've got the G, the O, the S, and the P. The very last piece of this that brings all of this together is the A. The A stands for activities. That's the most micro level of this whole effort. It's where all the tasks are being accomplished. Each person on the team is assigned tasks specific to them because of their subject matter expertise, because of their knowledge, their skills, their whatever, their training that makes them the best at what they do. And so you're assigning those things down, breaking that down onto a daily, weekly, monthly level so that everybody knows who's doing what, when that needs to get done and how that needs to get done. This is about getting the results. Okay. Assigning responsibilities, delegating to people that need to be involved, the right kind of people that need to be involved, the capable people that need to be involved. And then it's about developing ways to measure their progress as each person, as each team, as each group is working through the tasks and the assignments. There's ways to track that, measure that, and come together as a team and look at that, talk about that. The key thing here is getting these people together so that everybody involved can see what everybody else is doing and when they're reporting out on how progress is coming along. Very important piece that you follow up and put that in there, or people get busy, they go off in different directions, they lose sight of the priorities, and things stall, things get confusing and frustrating. So that is the GOSPA method for creating a plan for you. It's about how you think differently, thinking bigger, and using a great formula like GOSPA. The goals, the objectives, the strategies, the plans, and the activities. Break this stuff down into very easily digestible chunks where everybody on the team has a piece of the pie and is all on the same page, working towards the same end goal. When you can do that, that is powerful. Nothing can stop any group of people that are focused, clear, and executing and accountable. Nothing can stop those people. And so I encourage you to use gospel as a way to get organized, to develop and execute your plan, your strategy for the next level of success. And when you do, anything is possible. So I hope you got a lot of value out of this. It's a very simple, easy tool. I kind of, took a lot of time to break that down and provide that to you over a podcast, but it's really simple. It's really easy. I use it all the time in my coaching business, not only for my own business, but for other folks that are in business as well that need to be organized, clear, and focused. And so that's it for today's session. Really enjoyed going over this with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through the podcast. You can also reach out and connect with me directly at soarhighercoaching.com. Next week, we've got a really good episode. Next week, we are going to talk about a sensitive topic. We're going to be talking about faith in the workforce, how to shape your culture, bring your people together so they can be more collaborative, more productive, more effective, more efficient, and have a really well oiled machine as a result. Don't want to miss that. Look forward to spending some time with you there and our guest that'll going to be on the show next week. Hope you all have a great week. Take care.